And we've seen figures coming in from companies looking pretty good. Investors' confidence gradually returning to the market. I will be bringing you up to speed with further breakdown of figures from the Nigerian Exchange Limited moving forward. More listings are expected moving forward this year as the market is coming up with derivatives and all of that to attract more to the stock exchange. And of course, state governments and all of that are moving to the exchange now to drive investments, of course, be able to get funding from the NGX to rebuild economies and, of course, to grow the economy one way or the other. But let's move you quickly to outside our shores and see what the stocks are looking like outside Nigeria. Of course, following Donald Trump's tariff, the development around that across the board. U.S. stock futures wobbled, the dollar jumped, and Hong Kong shares slipped for 2 months high today as the U.S. and China set financial markets on edge with tit-for-tat tariffs. S&P 500 futures bounced in relief that Mexico and Canada cut deals to delay a U.S. tariff hit, swung to a 0.2% loss. European futures fell 0.1% and the euro sank beneath $1.02. Now, renewed selling pressure hits the Canadian dollar and Mexican peso. The dollar index was last up 0.2% at 108.78. Hong Kong Hang Seng had scaled 2025 at expectations that China would negotiate with U.S. President Donald Trump, with period gains to trade at about 2% higher. China's finance ministry says the country would slap tariffs on United States imports in a rapid response to the new U.S. duties on Chinese goods, renewing a trade war between the world's top two economies. According to the ministry, China imposed tariffs on 10% on crude oil, farm equipment, large displacement vehicles, and pickup trucks, and 15% on U.S. coal and liquefied natural gas, LNG. The actions will take effect from February 10, 2025. China says the United States tariff severely violates World Trade Organization's rules while also disrupting normal trade cooperation between China and the United States. China also announced a probe into Google, hinting about investigating the U.S. tech company for alleged antitrust violations. And more news. Meanwhile, President Trump has suspended the 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada, agreeing to a 30-day pause in return for concessions on border and crime enforcement with the two neighboring countries. This follows agreements between the United States and two neighbors, while there is no such agreement with China.
We've agreed to talk and consider various other things. We haven't agreed on tariffs yet, and maybe we will, maybe we won't. But we have a very good relationship. I also spoke with Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada, and we had a good talk in the morning, but I did ask him a couple of questions, like, banks aren't allowed to do business in Canada. Canada is very tough. Canada is very, we're not treated well by Canada, and we have to be treated well. Banks are not, as an example, allowed. Did you know that American banks are not allowed to do business in Canada? Can you believe that? And that's one of many things that we talked about, and I think we'll win most of the subjects.
Big questions there to answer. It looks like the trade war has started. Many will also say that, is there a chance for renegotiations? We had all of those conversations with Dr. Adebikpe, and some will say it's an opportunity for countries to take advantage of this trade war. That's talking about countries like Nigeria and, of course, the African continent. Because Trump says he's going to go on with this. Also, the issue around the greenback, which was raised earlier. All of the loans are dominated in dollars. GDP is calculated in dollars. And all of the fundings coming are all calculated in dollars. What would happen with all of these developments? Global trade, logistics issues, all of this. Don't forget, we still have war across we still have the Israel-Gaza war on the other side, that's also affecting trade relations and also issues. All all around the world, something is happening somewhere. Ukraine, Russia is still on the other side. So how will all of this continue to impact trade? Well, we'll be bringing you up to speed with these discussions going on the show. But before we wrap up today, let's take you to the oil market, which, of course, all of these developments will affect trading of crude oil. Trump says they are going to continue to drill, and when they continue to drill, that might affect prices eventually. So crude oil prices today retreated as United States President Donald Trump paused for a month on steep tariffs on Mexico and Canada, the United States' biggest foreign oil suppliers, while prospects of higher OPEC Plus supplies from April also weighed on the market. Let's start with the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude, which fell to sell at $71.62 per barrel, with a downward price review of 2.10%. Brent crude futures experienced a downward margin of 1.41% and is selling at $74.89 per barrel. Bonny Light sells for $78.62 per barrel, with a decline of 2.84%. And for the OPEC basket, crude dealers offer $78.49 per barrel. It has an uptick of 1.12%. Well, indeed, that's our offering for you today. Thank you so very much for being a part of it. I'll see you again tomorrow, where we'll be talking more business. Stay with TVC News and always get the cash. I'll see ya.